Everything you've been taught about love is upside down. It's from movies, songs, and fairy tales. You've been told that love is a feeling, something you stumble into, something magical that finds you when you least expect it. You're taught to chase butterflies, follow your heart, and wait for that spark that feels like destiny. But here's the truth that no one ever tells you. Not your teachers, not your parents, not even the romantic comedies you grew up with. Love isn't something that happens to you. Love is something you practice. We've been trained to believe love is a lightning strike. But in reality, it's closer to a muscle. It strengthens through use, weakens through neglect, and requires deliberate effort to stay alive. Before we get emotional, let's get scientific. When you first fall in love, something powerful happens in your brain. The ventral tegmental area, the same part that activates when you win money or use. Stimulants starts flooding your system with dopamine, the reward chemical. It's the same molecule behind the rush of gambling, sugar, or addictive substances. That dizzy, euphoric feeling, it's not destiny. That's your brain getting chemically rewarded for focusing on one person. Neuroscientists have found that even looking at someone you romantically attracted to triggers the same neural circuits as addictive drugs. In short, the magic of love at first sight is a biological high. Your brain is literally intoxicated by another human being's presence. But here's the twist. That chemical high doesn't last forever. Just like caffeine wears off after the buzz, the dopamine surge fades over time. When it does, most people panic. They assume they've fallen out of love. But what really happened is far simpler. The chemicals wore off. You've sobered up. And now comes the most important question of all. If love isn't a feeling you fall into, what happens when those feelings fade? What's left when the butterflies disappear? Because that right there is when real love begins. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll dive inside your brain to uncover the real science behind attachment, chemistry, and why your body tricks you into calling addiction love. So what's really going on inside your brain when you believe you've found the one? Let's look beneath the poetry and into the biology. When you're newly infatuated, your brain becomes a literal chemical factory. The ventral tegmental area, often called your brain's reward hub, goes into overdrive, releasing floods of dopamine. This is the same chemical that fires up when you take risks, win at gambling, or experience a hit of pleasure from food or stimulants. That fluttering heartbeat, the sleepless excitement, the way you can't stop thinking about them, none of that is fate. It's your reward system lighting up like a slot machine. Every text, every smile, every touch gives your brain another dopamine hit, reinforcing the obsession. But dopamine isn't alone in this love cocktail. Enter oxytocin, often nicknamed the bonding hormone. It's released through physical closeness, hugs, touch, and sex, and it creates that deep feeling of safety and connection. It's the same hormone that bonds a mother to her newborn child. Then there's vasopressin, linked to long-term pair bonding and protective behaviors. And cortisol, the stress hormone, which spikes during the early ardent stages of romance, the phase we call falling in love. But here's the problem. This intense phase doesn't last. The chemical high is temporary, lasting somewhere between 12 and 24 months on average. After that, your dopamine levels begin to balance, oxytocin loses its novelty edge, and the butterflies fade. And this is the moment when most people think love has died. They start to doubt the relationship. Why don't I feel that spark anymore? Have I fallen out of love? But what's really happening isn't loss. It's stabilization. Your brain is no longer drunk on chemistry. You're just finally sober enough to see the other person clearly. This is where real love either begins or ends, because love built only on chemistry will collapse when the chemicals fade. But love built on conscious effort transforms when the high is gone. In the next part, we'll uncover the real definition of love, not the one sold to you in movies, but the one backed by psychology and proven by neuroscience. What happens when the rush fades and the real work of love begins? So now that we've stripped away the chemistry, what's left? What happens after the dopamine rush settles, the oxytocin fades, and the butterflies stop fluttering? This is where the world's biggest misunderstanding about love gets exposed. Most people believe love is something you feel, but real love isn't a feeling, it's a practice. You see, we've turned love into a noun when it's really a verb. We say we find love, fall into love, or lose love, as if it's an object that appears and disappears beyond our control. But neuroscience and psychology tell a different story. Love isn't a mysterious force that chooses you. It's a behavior you choose daily. Real love begins exactly where infatuation ends. It starts when the thrill is gone and you still choose to show up. It's when the easy part ends and you decide to stay present, patient, and kind anyway. There's no dopamine spike when you wake up at 3 a.m. to care for your sick partner. No oxytocin surge when you clean the kitchen after a long day because you know it'll make their morning easier. No chemical high when you bite your tongue in an argument to protect the relationship instead of your ego. But those moments, those quiet, unglamorous moments, that's love. Love is choosing their well-being over your convenience. It's listening when you don't feel like listening. It's being kind when frustration would be easier. And here's the fascinating part. Neuroscience supports this. Long-term, happily bonded couples show activity not only in dopamine-rich reward regions, but also in brain areas linked to attachment and decision-making. That means real love ist the absence of chemistry. It est the integration of it with conscious choice. It est your higher brain, the prefrontal cortex, working together with your emotional brain to sustain connection long after the initial fireworks fade. So no. It's about how you choose to treat them once the feelings fluctuate, because they always will. Anyone can adore you when everything feels easy. But real love is proven when it's not easy anymore. In the next part, we'll explore the biggest lie culture sells about falling out of love and why the end of passion doesn't mean the end of love. It might just mean you're finally stepping into something deeper, something real. Let us talk about one of the biggest emotional illusions of our time, the idea of falling out of love. Most people think that when the butterflies disappear, love disappears too. They say, I just don't feel it anymore, as if their heart ran out of fuel. But here's the truth. You didn't fall out of love. You simply stopped doing love. Remember, love is built through behaviors, not feelings. The moment you stop practicing those behaviors, the connection begins to fade. You stop communicating openly. Stop showing gratitude. You stop doing the small, consistent things that create closeness. And then, when the chemistry naturally settles, you mistake that stillness for emptiness. But what if it's not the end? What if it's just the point where real love starts to grow roots? Neuroscience gives us a clue. Studies show that long-term couples who report deep satisfaction still show activation in the same dopamine-rich brain regions as new lovers. But with a crucial difference, they also activate regions tied to calmness, trust, and attachment. That means their love isn't built on excitement anymore. It's built on stability, familiarity, and intentional connection. In other words, real love doesn't burn fast and bright. It glows steadily over time. Think about it. You can feel intense chemistry with someone completely wrong for you. Your brain doesn't know the difference between healthy love and harmful obsession. It just knows dopamine. That's why people often get hooked on toxic relationships. They confuse intensity with intimacy, passion with partnership, and chaos with connection. When you realize that everything changes, you stop chasing the high and start building the foundation. You stop asking, do I feel in love? And start asking, am I acting with love? Because the real secret is this. Chemistry follows behavior. The more you engage in loving actions, listening, touching, showing appreciation, the more your brain releases the very chemicals that create closeness. You can literally reignite connection by practicing love again. So when you think you've fallen out of love, what you've really done is stop feeding it. Just like a flame dies without oxygen, love fades without action. But the beautiful thing is, it can always be reignited. In the final part, we'll uncover how to rebuild real, lasting love, how to shift from chasing feelings to creating them, and how to become someone who doesn't just fall in love, but grows it every single day. So now that you know love isn't a feeling you fall into it, s something you do, how do you actually build it? It starts with a mindset shift. Stop chasing chemistry and start cultivating consistency. The movies taught us to look for fireworks, but in real life, it's not the spark that keeps you warm. It's the fire you tend every single day. You don't need someone who makes you feel butterflies all the time. You need someone who practices love when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's inconvenient. Love that lasts isn't about intensity, it's about intentionality. It's the quiet actions repeated thousands of times. The good morning messages, the shared laughter over small things, the willingness to listen, the kindness during conflict. That's what rewires your brain for long-term connection. Neuroscience actually confirms this. Studies on long-term couples show that shared rituals, even simple ones, like holding hands, checking in daily, or expressing gratitude, reactivate the same reward pathways as early romance. Your brain learns to associate safety, trust, and stability with pleasure. You don't lose chemistry, you redefine it. Here's the truth. Love is a skill. Some people grow up seeing it modeled, so it comes naturally. Others have to learn it the hard way, through unlearning bad patterns and practicing new ones. But the hopeful part, anyone can learn it. Love isn't luck, it's discipline. And here's how you do it. You make small, daily choices that prioritize connection over ego. You communicate even when you don't feel like it. You give empathy when you'd rather win an argument. Keep showing up, even when the excitement fades. The feeling of love isn't the foundation, it's said the reward for practicing it well. This is why some arranged marriages or relationships that start without strong chemistry grow stronger over time. They begin with the practice of love, and the feeling follows. Meanwhile, many passionate relationships burn out because they start with the feeling and forget the practice. You can choose differently. You can stop waiting to feel love and start creating it through action. You can choose a partner who does the same. Because real love isn't about who gives you butterflies, it's about who builds the garden where butterflies return. If this changed the way you think about love, don't let it end here. Start practicing it today. Leave a comment about the kind of love you want to build, not just feel. Because once you understand that love isn't what happens to you, it's what you do. I'll never see relationships the same way again.